Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome to Little Slaw YouTube channel. Today we have Prasant Samal with us, and this is a new series of videos where we have experts and mentors with us to discuss their experiences and many unanswered questions to us. So, for that, in our first session, we have Prasant Samal with us today. He's an expert in AWS. And Prashant, a quick introduction about Prashant. So Prashant has completed his BTech in electronics and telecommunication, but he has a passion towards information technology field. But then he initially started his career in teaching with Gurukul Institute of Technology. But in the year 2011, he started with his IT career with Tata Consultancy Services as a Java developer. And he currently works for EPAP India as a lead systems engineer. He has served various roles in his IT career with like Java application developer, full stack developer, technical lead and full stack developer, senior software developer. He also works as a AWS trainer, as a freelancer for Simply Learn, which is a large online learning solution. So with no further delays, we'll go to Prashant. We have a few questions to ask him. We'll ask the questions and we'll learn from him. Hi, Prashant. I welcome you to Little Sly YouTube channel.
Hey, Vasant. Good morning.
How are you? Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. I hope you are doing good as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for considering me an expert. I'm no expert as of now, but I'm trying to be one. So still in the learning journey, but yeah. Thank you for that small intro.
That's how humble you are. Thank you, Prashant. So we have a few questions to you. It's not going to be a long session. It's just a few questions, and just want to that can help the freshers and people who wanted to start their career in IT or who wanted to have a good direction. So it's a kind of mentoring session. And
Sure.
thanks once again for that, Prashant, for giving your valuable time. So Prashant, so my first question is like, what was your first job or first role that you joined in IT organizations? Or what was your first role? Can you explain that and like just throw some insight on it?
Sure. So basically, like as you said in the intro itself, like I was after my engineering, I started as a lecturer and I was teaching electronics and telecommunication. But then in 2011, basically, I switched and moved to IT career and started with TCS. So after the initial learning program in TCS, basically I started. The first role was basically of a Java developer, and this was for our insurance client. And I started as a Java developer fresher. So yeah. So initially we had a small training in the initial learning program with Java, and then after like a couple of months, we got into the project directly. Started with basically a fresh project, which was catering for insurance needs to sell certain insurance products. And this was for Poland region, basically. So basically European regions mostly. That was the first role.
Okay, so you told us that you started your career as a Java developer with TCS. So when you started your career, so what are the challenges you faced, and what are the fixes you think you might think which have helped you in earlier stages?
So initially, like at one point of time, like I was doing the training, and then I suddenly got an interview for basically a project role, and then I gave the interview and I was directly moved into the project. And once I was in the project, it was like I was on my own. So it was like nobody was there to basically tell me that you could do this thing or do that thing, or like okay, basically I didn't find a mentor or a guiding figure who could share his experience or let me know or guide me and move to a different path. Like it was like, okay, this is the ocean and I'm dropped in the middle of ocean. Now you have to swim across the shore. So that was like, okay, I felt like, okay, when I started, that was one of the major challenge I faced, and which was finding a good mentor. And to everyone, like to whoever is starting his or her journey in any career. Like, and if you are in IT career, try to find a mentor and try to be in sync with the mentor. If you find that the mentor is a good one and you can like, okay, basically your frequency matches with the mentor, so go ahead and follow the mentor so that you have basically some experiences, pre experiences beforehand, and you don't have to like basically swim across all alone, right? So that was one of the major, like I feel, the challenge I faced. Like I if I after all these years, right, if I think around, that was one of the major challenge.
So with that, I understand that having a mentor at the earlier stages will help us to grow our career. Yeah.
Right, like, okay, basically yes, okay, that is one of the important thing. Like if you find a good mentor, then there is like, okay, basically no stopping to you. And if you can follow like, okay, what the mentor is saying, obviously there is effort needed from everyone, like, okay, from your end. But if you find the good mentor and he can let you know, he or she can let you know how to basically chalk out your career path, that will be much like great.
Sure. So, what are the mistakes that you did in your early stages which you wanted the freshers to be aware of that they can avoid? So what are some of the mistakes which you can share us?
So coming to the mistakes, right? So what I feel is like when I joined TCS after the initial learning program, like I was doing a little bit of Java and here and there. And then when I was put into the project, like what I did is like if the project demanded some work, I was doing just that. So whatever the project demanded, whatever the client demanded, I was doing just that. Like, okay, I used to like if I don't know stuffs, I will know that stuff and I'll implement that. That's it. So I was not learning at all. So in the initial, like, okay, first 2, 3 years, or maybe first 4 years, the learning was like maybe zero. Like if I just compare with like prior to joining IIT and after the 4 years I've spent in IT, like that 4 years, my learning was absolutely zero. I was just doing work which was given to me. Maybe I did it good, but I was just doing that. So nothing extra. I was not learning anything, doing nothing. So that was like one of the most important or big mistake I did. And so later I found out that yes, okay, it's not going to work out. So I started on a learning journey, and then here I am.
So, which we can take it now as the freshers who are joins the IT field. So, they should start, apart from their work, they should start some extra learning on what they have put up.
Yeah, that is very important. Like if you see, right, the IT landscape is changing, new technologies are coming up. So uh, like if we compare 2010 and 2020, the scenario has completely changed. So nowadays, like earlier, the clients were not adopting newer technologies, but now clients are bold enough. They are adopting newer technologies. They are ready to like basically play around. So with that, the challenges are on the developers and the other members of the IT team to basically cope up with that challenge itself.
Yes. Yeah,
So
sure.
you have to be on your toes every time and you have to keep learning. And if you are not learning, like after 3 or 4 years, you'll find that like you are far behind somewhere, or you are lost in the jungle.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I understand that. I understand that. Okay. So you started your career in 2011. So after 5 years of your IT career, how did you felt? So do you wanted to move out or stay in? Like because we used to hear people or our colleagues saying that, oh man, I decided to come into IT and that was a mistake. So I should have gone outside. I should have been a chai wala or something like that. So people used to talk like that. That why should I do this job
Right.
in IT which has a lot of stress? Why don't I move outside and do something other? So did you have come across that? So what was your thought on that, Prashant?
So like when I joined TCS, I didn't had that feeling. Like okay, basically when I during my college or pre-college days, I always dreamt of joining a multinational company and probably a big IT company. And when I got into TCS, like, I felt that the dream had come true, sort of. And after 5 years of IT journey, I was in the US. Like I had completed 1 year in the US. So I didn't had that feeling. But
Okay.
yes, like around maybe when I completed 2 years or between 2 years and 3 years, I did felt like quitting and moving back to teaching. Uh, the reason behind that was like I still want to teach now and I'm teaching. So I had that passion to teach. And from my early childhood days, I've been teaching like that's another story. I don't want to go into it, but have been teaching since long. So in between, like I was thinking that okay, what I am doing here, and I'm just doing stuffs. Okay, and that was maybe probably the same reason that I was not learning anything new. So whatever job was given to me, I was doing that, but I was not learning anything new. Maybe I don't know, subconsciously it triggered behind that I should move to back to teaching. But then like I just gave it a thought, and then okay, it never happened. And then after completion of 4 years, I had my H1B visa. I moved to the United States, worked there. So after that, I never had that thought. But yes, I, there comes a point when you think like in everyone's lifetime, probably you should switch or you should switch careers. But it can happen to anybody in any of the field, right? Okay, not only in IT, but maybe if somebody is in bank or working in some other company not related to IT, maybe he or she can feel the same. But yeah, that can happen.
Yeah.
Actually.
Sure. So, how did you shape your career? So, do you plan things ahead? You just how do you forecast things? Forecast change.
So like I will answer this in two phases.
Mhm.
Like maybe like first 5 years of my IT career and the next 5 years of my IT career, so that it makes little sense. So initial 5 years, I was like, okay, where the wind took me, I went there.
Okay.
So no planning at all, and like I felt like okay, yes, there will be a progression. My managers or my basically leads are going to take care of it. I just need to deliver things which is given to me, and like rest will be taken care of. So like whatever clients I was associated with, whatever projects I was associated with, like whatever they said me to do, I was doing that. And my clients, my projects, my leads, they shaped my initial stage of my career. And then there came a point basically where I understood that that's not going to work out for the long run, and I need to take charge. And maybe like after 5 years, I had that realization. After 1 year in the United States, I had that realization. Then I started planning things. Like earlier, I used to plan every time, but within that 5 years period, I didn't plan anything for my career. But after that 5 years, I started planning. I started thinking that what are my aspirations, what are my goals, or what do I need to become, and what do I need to do to achieve those goals. And then I started planning a lot. It helped me a lot, basically in two things. Like it helped me in knowing where I stand, and it also helped me that what all things I need to do so that I can reach my like goal. So yes, these days or like okay, last 5 years or last 4 years, I've been planning a lot, and I've been working on that plans. I'm not sure how much I'm able to basically achieve it, but I think I'm on that path, and I will continue on this path. Like okay, till I am in my IT career. That's for sure.
So, tell us about your current role and what would you suggest the freshers or the experience to reach your place, like to your role?
So current role, basically, as you said in the intro itself, like I am a lead software engineer, and I have my own teams. I understand client requirements. I try to provide solutions. I try to help my team. I try to mentor my team. That's the current role. Apart from that, like I have the passion for teaching, so I do freelancing, and I teach basically AWS for Simply Learn. Right now, I'm associated with Simply Learn. So that's the current role or current stuffs I'm doing. And if you are talking about like me giving suggestion for people to reach where I am, so that should not be. I don't think like I can give that suggestion. The point being, software industry is changing and technologies are changing. The roles and responsibility are changing, and how companies operate are changing. So the role which I am in, probably that might not be there 5 years later. So that won't be my suggestion to reach where I am, but my suggestion will be to everyone to understand their aspirations, and whatever aspirations they have, they need to plan accordingly. And in in undergoing that planning and in undertaking those steps, probably finding a good mentor is also going to help. And if I take an example, like let's suppose somebody is starting as a software developer engineer and wants to become an architect or an engineering manager, then one can get started by picking up a language, okay, front end and back end. Start with the basics, then start mastering the language and whatever are frameworks associated with those languages, and then know how to build, deploy, run the application. And when you do that, you learn a little bit of Linux, you learn a little bit of networking, you learn the build and deploy tools like Git, Maven, Gradle, Jenkins, and all those technologies. Then move on to a little bit higher stuff like microservices, different technologies like Docker, Kubernetes, cloud, databases, different types of caches, message queues, event-driven technologies, and so on. So that is a progression one has to take slowly. Okay, you have to master stuff, master things, and then move on to the next level. And the more you implement, the more practice you have, the more acquaintance you have with the tools and technologies, the better you become. And the more technologies and tools you have in your kitty, you are going to start climbing the ladder sooner. So that will be my suggestion, like basically to not aspire what I am today. Maybe that role might not be feasible for next 5 years or so on, but to aspire like, okay, what they want to become and start working on that. I just give you a small example, like, okay, yeah, if you can start.
So when did you decide to move to cloud technology? Because you started as a Java developer and now you are into AWS, and we could see you complete a lot of AWS certifications and giving AWS trainings. So what was your motivation factor that took you to the cloud technology?
So motivation wise, like I I had a small training in back in I think 2016, like year end 2015. Yeah, starting 2016, I had a small training for which TCS provided with this digital learning program that was for IBM Bluemix. So now it is IBM Cloud now, but earlier it was called IBM Bluemix. So I did that training, and when I did that training, I understood basically nothing. I just did that training and and then I started with my work. I forgot everything. Then slowly I started hearing that big companies who are on on-premise development or who are basically having their applications on on-premise are trying to move to cloud, or some have already started the migration. And there are a lot of cloud offerings now. So multiple cloud offerings are available, probably 2017, 2018 around. And then I thought that, okay, I have been doing same stuffs, repetitive stuffs again and again. So why not try something out different? And that 2015 around, I was basically working as a release manager and build and deploy engineer. So that was my role. And wherein I got interested with basically all this infrastructure related stuff, build and deploy tools, how an application is basically being deployed, how it is being consumed. Like I had that background of just writing code, and then I moved on to something like, okay, how the application can be shipped and basically be available to all the global users. So that triggered like a change in learning pattern, and I got more interested with cloud technologies. And in the same time, like if you remember, we had the TCST factor program, right, where we started small bite-sized program or bite-sized training programs on different technologies. So I was going through those trainings, had a little bit bandwidth, so I was going through those trainings, cloud technologies, DevOps technologies, all build and deploy tools. And then I basically had a plan that no, it's not going to work out, so I have to switch gears and learn cloud. And it was a challenge for me as well, like okay, because I didn't new stuff, so I started or I embarked on that cloud learning journey.
So why AWS? We have Azure, we have GCP, we have Oracle Cloud. Why AWS?
No particular reason for
Okay.
AWS,
Okay.
but when I started, like okay, back in 2016, 2017 around, AWS was the market leader at that time, and it is still is, but other cloud providers are gathering pace. They are doing good. They are giving good competition now. But back in 2017, 2018, now AWS was the market leader, and AWS had a lot of offerings as compared to other cloud providers. AWS had a lot of services offerings. So that was the reason to move to cloud and move specifically with AWS. But as of now, if somebody is starting today, I won't recommend a specific cloud technology. What I would recommend instead is like if your company is going ahead with a certain cloud technology, learn that cloud technology so that you can have hands-on practice. That is more important. So just learning and not implementing is not going to work out. But what is going to work out is you learn something, you implement, and then you are going to basically get a mastery on that. So you can start it with any cloud technology, as you said, like Azure, AWS, GCP, Oracle, or IBM, or even Alibaba, or any other cloud provider. There are many. You can get started with any, but maybe get started with the one where you can have a little bit hands-on. That will be the starting point probably from my
Sure.
case.
Sure. So we could see you do complete certifications frequently, and we feel like you are a very quick learner. So what is the first certification, and how much did it help you to progress in your career?
First certification was back in, I think, 2013. I did the SCJP Java certification, SCJP 6. The cloud certification I got started, or I started attempting, was from 2018. So 2018, I started with the AWS Developer Associate certification. And that took me around like a year to achieve that certification because I was new to cloud. So I started learning, giving in a lot of time, did some hands-on practice, some practice from the basically the company or the client where I was working on. And when that happened, I started attempting other associate certifications, AWS, which was Solutions Architect, SysOps Administrator Associate. Then did the AWS Professional Solutions Architect Professional certification. Recently, I just completed Kubernetes Certified Developer as well. So yes, I have started doing certifications actively. And I don't know I'm a quick learner or not, but I'm trying to basically learn things quickly and do as much as possible. Like, okay, do some certifications if the client is providing me that learning path, or basically using those technologies, so I can also contribute in that as well. From like, okay, help standpoint, it does help. Certifications does help from like if you do a certification, right, you are going to know a lot more, like many services in detail. But if you are just working on a couple of like basically say services, you will know only those services. But if you instead opt for certification, what you are going to benefit is you are going to know a lot more services, or maybe a broader offerings from like whoever is the certification provider, right? So like let's suppose Kubernetes. So if you are doing this Kubernetes certification, developer certification, then you are going to know a lot more than if you just are asked to implement something in Kubernetes. So that is going to help, like that broader knowledge is going to help you out in the long run. But only certification is also not going to help. What is going to help is like if you have hands-on learning, or if you can apply your learnings, that is going to help much more than certification. But you can do certifications is what I will suggest. Like, okay, the two things, like it is going to validate your knowledge, what you know, and what, like, okay, where you are. If you achieve that certification, then you can be rest assured that okay, you are knowing at least a broader service offering of that certification provider or of the tools and technologies. Plus, it is going to give you like, okay, some broader level of knowledge on that tools and technology as well.
Okay, so and we could see every year and every day, we could see a lot of freshers joining into IT. So what is your advice to freshers who join as an IT, as a developer?
So, like if I want to sum up, right, okay, maybe whatever points we discussed earlier as well, like whatever challenges I faced and all. So stuffs or my suggestion or my advice to anybody, or maybe the freshers who are joining IT industry is, like important thing is you should know your aspirations. What is your aspirations? Maybe at the initial phase, you are not going to understand what are your aspirations, but after a year or two, maybe start finding out your aspirations. That is important. Then once you know your aspirations, you have to plan well, okay, to achieve those aspirations. And once you plan well, you have to act as well. Okay, just planning is not going to help. So you'll have to act as well to achieve those aspirations. If you can find a mentor, that is also going to help you out immensely. Again, finding a good mentor is always a challenge, but if you can find one, that will be like icing on the cake. Then other points are keep learning regularly. Okay, don't be complacent. Like focus a small amount of time, but keep doing that every day, or maybe every week, every month, every year. If you are on that continuous learning path, then probably there is very much less which is going to stop you ahead. Other important things are network well. Okay, you should be you should be open to network well with people, and the more you network, the more basically ideas you are going to bring in, the better you like. Okay, you will be able to reach more people as well. And to the freshers, it's very important, have patience, have lots and lots of patience, because these days I feel that the people who are joining IT industry, or the developers, right, they are a little impatient. They want to climb the ladder very soon. So have lots of patience. Another important area is focus on your health. That is very important. So if you're not going to focus on health, in the long run, it is you are not going to achieve your aspirations, as simple as that. Because if your health is not good, you are not going to basically, you cannot learn, or you cannot give more hours to work as well. So be healthy. And also there are other things apart from whatever I said, like, so trying to maintain a work balance, again, that's a difficult thing which I say, because trying to maintain a work balance is again very tricky, very complicated thing. But if you can find out a balance, again, you have to maintain one, like, because there is a social life, there is a work life, so you have to try to maintain that as well. These are important things. Like I am no expert, so that I'm doing everything well, but I'm trying to manage, and everyone has to manage these things. Like if one doesn't manage these things, then again, it's not going to work out overall. It's not going to work out.
Sure. So you have given your thoughts to the freshers. What about the experienced people who are around 5, 6 years?
Hmm. So even for them, right? Okay, experienced people, like if I same advice goes to the experienced people. Okay, and if people want to move to cloud as well, like you see, right? Every company are moving to cloud, or they will be moving to cloud. If they have not moved, they will be moving to cloud. And most of the companies are on cloud. And earlier, like back in 2017, 2018, the pace was not that like, but now the pace has gathered up. So most of the like if you work if you are giving an interview, right, everybody will say that they are on cloud, or any new product offerings will be on cloud.
Yeah.
So that's how it will be. So sooner or later, the experienced people also have to learn cloud. They have to adopt cloud technologies, and the sooner they do, the better it is. And my advice to basically all these experienced candidates will be is, yeah, every all these cloud providers, right, AWS, Azure, GCP, they are giving a lot of basic trainings. So all those trainings are free as well. So try to go ahead and give those basic trainings. And if you can attempt their basic level certification, sometimes they give free vouchers as well. So try to attempt those certifications as well. That will be a good starting point, so that these people can understand the cloud technologies and move to cloud easily. And sooner or later, they have to work on cloud. So if they can start learning cloud early, that is going to help everyone.
Sure. So you have almost answered my next question. That is cloud a good choice? But still, yeah. So yeah, Prashant. So tell us about the future of cloud technology. So based on your experience and your learning, so what do you think is the future of cloud technology?
So future of cloud is looking bright,
Mhm.
because more and more companies are adopting cloud, and few are going fully cloud. Like for example, I always give this example of Capital One Bank, right? They are the first bank who are completely on cloud, and by 2020 they they have moved completely to cloud. So many companies are moving to cloud. Many, like even banking and insurance industry is also moving to cloud. So the future looks good, but the future is not only going to be cloud, but it is going to be multi-cloud, or maybe some kind of hybrid cloud technology where both cloud and on-premise infrastructure are existing, and both are basically working it out. But yes, and apart from cloud, you have to know other technologies as well, which are upcoming. So other technologies are also making good progress, be in the blockchain field or IoT field or AI ML field. Those are also coming up, and they are also like, okay, basically the adoption rate is also higher in those technologies area as well. But for cloud, yes, the future looks good. Uh, One can be rest assured that basically if you are learning cloud, you are in good hands, and then okay, you can work well, okay, or you will be able to basically get good work as well.
So thanks for that answer. And so what is your motivational factor that drives you to work, learn, and teach? What was that one thing? So if you share us, maybe our viewers can take that from you.
So motivation wise, like I am always on the lookout of some challenging work. So that's my motivation basically to work. So if I have a challenging work, I get like, okay, fully involved in that work, and I try to basically try to end like, okay, complete that work, okay, whatever challenging work is given to me. The other piece is in this IT industry is meeting new people, right? So meeting new people from different geographies, working with them, and trying to basically achieve a common goal. That's another motivation point for me. So it's not that okay, you are working with same set of people every 6 months or every month, at least every 2 3 months you are working with new set of people. So that is another basically motivation for me to meet and work with newer people. And the driving point for me to learn is basically to challenge myself and uh, to keep me on my toes, right? Okay, if I start challenging myself, okay, it helps me out, okay, to bring the best out of me. So that lets me to like okay start learning new technologies, and that's where I try to validate my learnings with basically the certifications I do. So even though I'm not working on a certain set of technology, and if I'm learning something, so I try to validate it with certification so that I know whether I have known the topic well or not. Again, that doesn't mean that I am an expert on that subject, but at least it gives me some sense of satisfaction and motivation that I was able to do this certification. So I at least know certain things for sure. And if I have opportunity to work on that, I can be productive. I can basically I can give my own inputs as well, or I can be productive in that. Like if the client is providing me with that set of technologies.
Right.
And teaching wise, you asked about teaching. So
Yeah.
teaching that is one point. Like okay, that's a sort of passion for me. So I have been teaching since like very small age. I don't remember when, but maybe I think when I was 13 or 14 years old, I've been teaching since then. So that's sort of my passion. I want to teach more and more. So and again to teach more or to keep teaching, you have to also learn. So that's sort of interconnected as well to why it helps me, like or why do I learn or why I am on the learning journey as well.
Sure. Thanks, Prashant, for learning, for sharing us all your experiences and everything. I mean, even I have learned a lot of new things from you. Thanks for that, Prashant. Thanks for all your wonderful time. So, is there any other thing that you want to share with us?
I don't have any specific thing, but the important thing is what I will say to everyone is focus on your health with this pandemic around. Like everyone has not been healthy. Even I was not healthy, so I also was out of work for certain months now. So focus on your health. Okay, network well. Look out, like be on the lookout of good mentors every time. If you find one, then you are in good hands. That is what I'll say. And keep learning. That is very important. Okay, even though you don't do certification, that is again secondary, but keep learning new things and or at least have the habit of reading book, reading good blogs, following good blogs, okay, or podcast and all. So, yeah, keep have that habit of following people around in YouTube and different podcasts, listen to them, what they are saying, listen to the newer technologies, what are coming up. And if something is interesting, why not like do a small POC in your own free time? You try to learn that technology and do certain set of POCs. These are my important like advice or uh, whatever last minute talks. And thank you for having me again, where I could share whatever I know or whatever I've been able to. I'm not sure how much valuable it is, but I think that this is going to help out everyone who watches your YouTube channel. Yeah.
Thanks again. So,
Thank you.
thanks for sharing. We'll meet in another video, Prashant. In the future, maybe we can discuss in a very short time with various different topics. So, thanks for that, Prashant. We
Sure,
hope
sure.
you enjoyed. I mean, I've asked a lot of questions, but still, we would talk a lot around about a lot of things. But still, this I wanted you to share your experiences so that people can get some insights, and that can really help them in their career. So thanks again for that, Prashant. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for asking good questions again. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Thank you, Prashant.
Thank
Have a
you.
good day. Yeah, bye.